God, that was so sing-songy. Welcome to Creepy Conversations. I'm Nikki and I'm eating chocolate.
I'm Kalai. Why am I singing?
No idea. It's been a while, you guys. We're sorry.
We haven't been recording in 2 weeks, so I feel like...
She's still finding her mojo.
Mm-hmm. And our listeners will be like, that's like every recording. You guys are...
Yeah. I probably
never
don't know,
together.
like, damn it.
Yeah. Speaking of, not really, but like, why are Asians generally known to have baby faces? Like, what is in our genes?
Yeah. You know what I read? I don't know how true it is because I'm not even sure if the sources are credible, and I've read this for like way back. But they say it's because of rice. Like, there's something in rice that, like, I wouldn't say stops from aging, but there's something in rice that helps with your skin. So then you look younger. And then if you come to think about it, generally speaking, Asians eat more rice compared to, like, all the other races.
Yeah, but also, like, South Americans eat rice more than, like, Northern Americans, and they look younger than Northern Americans, and Central Americans. So maybe.
I mean, let's face it. As Filipinos, we do look young because unlimited rice exists in our country.
We have what do you call this? Restaurants that have only rice.
Yeah, like, so waiters and waitresses, they sometimes wear this huge pot.
Yeah.
And then you just call for them, and then they would literally serve you rice straight from the pot.
That is so true. Rice isn't a side dish.
It is the main
It's the main course. Literally, we have this thing where we like just put soy sauce and a little bit of oil on rice, and that's like a meal for us. That's so good.
Hey, we eat everything with rice. Like, sometimes people have
our dessert
spaghetti with rice.
Spaghetti with rice. That is so true.
Every time I tell my colleagues that, they'd be like, "What the fuck? What kind of psychopaths are you?" And I'm like,
that is
no,
so true.
I'm fucking serious. That is so normal in my country.
Any type of, like, even my auntie, we, like, whenever my cousin cooks pesto pasta, she eats it with rice.
What is wrong with us? Everything.
We're obsessed with rice.
Like noodles. Even our desserts. Like, we have what we call, like, poto rice cake.
Yeah, rice cake. Champurrado, where we put, like,
Cocoa.
really dark cocoa
Yeah.
on rice. And also, you should try this. Rice with Milo is so good. I don't know why.
It's like an alternative to champurrado. So you guys, if you've tried, like, Oreo rice, whatever, that's not special because we've always had that in Philippines. Sorry to burst your bubble, but you should try it. It's amazing.
It's amazing for us.
And it will give you baby face because rice, but it'll make you fat, but whatever.
Yeah, just, do whatever Nikki is doing. She loves to eat rice.
2 servings every meal. 2 servings.
Yeah, just pole dance with her.
Hey, it works. Even Bogs, remember? Before?
Yeah. Be a
She'd
dancer,
have, like,
that's it.
Noodles plus rice.
And plus
siomai.
bread.
And bread. Lots and lots of rice. Where is this podcast going?
It's not what our listeners signed up for. That was literally 5 minutes.
We were just like, yes, have some rice for a baby face.
This is how obsessed we are with rice that we have 5 minutes worth of, like, content talking about rice.
For rice.
But anyway, the reason why I started talking about
my
what
nose
is that?
ring. My nose ring came off. Yes.
We are coming undone.
My nose ring is not having any of this. It's just like, I am done here by...
Yeah. But anyway, yeah, why we were talking about baby faces is because we're going to be talking about the Babyface killer for this episode. So before we begin, the sources for this episode are Murderpedia and Wikipedia. And there's also, I forgot to write it down because I watched it right before Nikki and I started our call. But it's a documentary on... Fuck, let me check.
She's not even
the
sure.
Babyface. I closed it. God damn it. But we'll put it in our website so you guys can check it out. Also, speaking of our website, just really quick, our website has like an issue. We can't publish it on the day that our episode gets published. So we publish it the day after. So yeah, if you want to check out that documentary, check it out on a Saturday or Sunday. Yeah, so let's travel to 2001. So this was July 2001. After a night out with his friends, Seth Gonzalez comes home at 11:48 p.m. on July 10, 2001. I said that already. To a grisly scene at his home in North Ryde in New South Wales, Australia. Also, we're traveling to Australia. Hello to our Australian listeners. The kangaroos.
I'm so bad. Like, you're like, hi to our Australian listeners, and I'm here like, hi, kangaroo.
Is that offensive to them? I don't know. Whatever. They have kangaroos there.
That was not the point for it. Sorry.
She just loves kangaroos.
I guess.
So yeah, Seth Gonzalez runs to his neighbor's home to call 000, which is like 911 in Australia, and told his neighbor and the dispatcher of 000 that his family had been shot. In the call, he's crying and he's hysterical that you can barely understand what he's saying. And the dispatcher kept telling him to calm down because the dispatcher also couldn't understand him. And the dispatcher was also, he sounded kind of annoyed. And I think it's how they're trained to like make you calm down.
So they get annoyed for you to like, calm down?
Yeah, it's kind of like talk properly. When we're kids, if your mom does that to you, you're immediately like,
right.
So I feel like it's part of their training. But anyway, but from what I can understand from listening to it, he said that his parents and his family have been shot and he kept asking for help. Like he kept on saying, help, send help. And that he kept asking the dispatcher what to do. Like he was asking if he should like perform CPR. Like he kept asking like, what should I do? Like how should I help them and shit like that. And then the dispatcher told him that the police are on their way. So once the police arrived, he kept trying to go inside the house and he kept yelling that he needed to get inside, that his neighbors who didn't know what was going on woke up to him screaming. And then, yeah, he kept saying that his family was shot and that he saw 2 dudes and 2 vans driving away, but he couldn't chase them. So that's why he ran to his neighbor to call for help. And on the wall outside their house, there was a message spray painted, "Fuck off Asians, KKK." Because at that time, and I think till today, racism towards Asians are still rampant.
Yeah, it's there.
And not just in Australia, like it's all over the world, especially like because of COVID. But yeah, this was back in 2001. Guys, it's been 10 years. Nothing has changed. What is happening? We can't have flying cars because we're stuck in this shit. But yeah, so inside the house were his parents and his only sister. They had multiple stab wounds all over their bodies. His dad also had defensive wounds. Like, it was like he tried to fight back. And his sister, Saf's sister, Claudine, who was found in her room, had her head bashed in, as well as strangulation marks on her neck. So it all looked like they were all like caught off guard when they were attacked. Mm-hmm. So yeah. So the investigation began, and the police started to question the neighbors, and of course, Seth, because he was the one who found them. So upon like doing that shit, the house seemed to be ransacked, but nothing important was taken. Like the money from their wallets weren't taken. One of the things that stood out to the investigators was that the chaos seemed to be random. Like it wasn't like they were looking for something. It just seemed like the house was like...
They just wanted to...
Yeah, to make a mess.
Trash the place, yeah.
Yeah. None of the neighbors, though, saw any vehicles that were unfamiliar. And to the investigators, the attack seemed too random. Like, if it was a hate crime, like, why
them?
Specifically them. So they started to look closer into the family to see if they could get answers. So Teddy Gonzalez was the father. He was a lawyer, and his wife was Loiva Gonzalez. They were married in 1977. They were originally from the Philippines. In 1980, Seth Gonzalez was born in Baguio, Philippines, and then in 1983, they had their youngest daughter, Claudine. After the 1990 Luzon earthquake, it destroyed the family's home and business and a newly built 40-room hotel that was their business. And Teddy even rescued Seth from the rubble of the earthquake. So yeah. And then because of that, they migrated to Australia. They settled in Sydney, and by the late 1990s, Teddy had requalified as a lawyer, and then he set up a successful law firm and began working as an immigration lawyer and purchased a plot of land in Northride.
I wish I was that ballsy. Like, you know what? My entire property is fucking gone because of an earthquake. I'm gonna move to another country.
Yeah. He knew how to let go and knew how to like start over, which is a hard thing to do. So
it's very difficult.
Yeah. So yeah, they're the typical Asian family. They're close and they're known to be devout Catholics, but the parents, you know, the typical Asian parent stereotype, they were strict and they're what we Asians would call tiger parents, quote unquote. I know there's been like a discussion on the stereotype, but Nikki and I can say tiger parents because we know what these parents are like. In our family.
Based on experience.
Based on experience.
I love how our voices are like, the pitch is getting higher and higher.
Yeah. But for those that aren't Asians or aren't familiar with the term, they're the type of parents that have like high hopes and are strict for their children. They have
certain expectations from their kids.
Like I said earlier, we know that type very well. And it's not just like academically, it's also like
your entire life.
Yeah, but I'm gonna give my family as an example. Like our family, we're not very strict with like academic stuff, but when it comes to like religious stuff, they're very strict. My Harry Potter book, I feel like I've mentioned this before, was burned by my mom because, you know, she heard some shit in church. And my books by Charles Darwin were burned by my aunt. I was already 23 at that time when she found my books because Charles Darwin is known to be an atheist and you cannot own books by atheists if you're from a Catholic family. So, yeah.
There's that.
There's that kind of tiger parenting. And then there's also like the more famous one that's like, you have to be good academically and shit. Which like, I feel like every Asian parent. Sorry. That's her.
I put it to myself.
Yep.
It's like, hi.
So yeah, there are different types. So also, Yeah, that's it. So that's what the Gonzaleses were. With the Gonzaleses, they had hoped their son would perform well academically, give up his musical and singing aspirations, which is like, hello, yes, I've been there too, and embark on a career in medicine and law. That is also, I feel like both our families.
Thing.
Yeah.
My uncle did not, he stopped speaking to me for a while because he wanted me to be a nurse. Can you imagine me being a nurse?
Same. That was on our 4th year high school. You start seeing the nursing pamphlets and the nursing talks and shit like that. Whew. I didn't realize that this was gonna relive some shit for us. But yeah.
This is some therapy episode, you guys. We didn't know it was gonna uncover a few shit from our childhood. Would you consider childhood? No, it's
no,
our past.
Not
just our past.
Life period. Back to Seth. After attending Parramatta Marist High School, I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing that correctly. Australian listeners, yell at us, let us know.
No.
He studied medical science at University of New South Wales, but withdrew after 2 years. He then enrolled at Macquarie University.
Word.
He performed poorly in his courses and he was at the risk of being expelled. So he covered up his failure by falsifying his grades. He would forge his card. I don't know how he falsified his grades, but yeah, he forged some stuff so that his parents wouldn't know. Then his sister revealed all of this stuff to his parents because she was concerned. That's what your siblings usually do if they're concerned about you. And when Teddy and Loiva found out about it, they threatened to withdraw certain privileges in Seth's life, like his prized car, which was a green Ford Festiva.
I have no idea. I don't have a car.
Me too. I'm also not into cars. I don't know how to drive.
That makes 2 of us.
It's a normal thing for us Filipinos, okay? But yeah, Seth argued with his mother over his girlfriend, whom Loiva disapproved, and his family eventually threatened to disinherit him because for them it was one thing after another. It's just a pile of lies, which is, by the way, a very normal thing in the Philippines, in Asian culture, I think.
I've been disowned twice, you guys.
That's a very, very common thing. So yeah, that's the reason why all the issues with his parents, the police started to look closer into Seth. Then they found out that because of this, he had a front and that his life seemed to fall apart. They found out that in order for Seth to deal with this whole thing, he decided to kill his family. At first, he decided to kill them with poisonous beans because, I don't know why he chose beans, but that's what he thought of doing at first. The girl, he believed that he was in love with his girlfriend, had returned to her boyfriend because she was aware that Loiva Gonzalez, or Seth's mom, didn't like her. So it was for her, whatever. I'm just gonna go back to my ex-boyfriend.
Wow. She did not fight for that. She was just yeah, sorry, your mom's
I can't blame her. Look at how he turned out. She dodged a bullet.
True.
So because of that, it was another thing for Seth to be okay, this is it. I'm gonna murder my family. He also found out that he would inherit a considerable wealth. And then what he did was he logged onto the internet and typed into his search engine methods of killing. Because, back then, people didn't know that even if you clear your browser, we shouldn't be saying this in case murderers are listening to this, but yeah, even if you clear your browser, the police will still find out about it. It's not going to be like 100% scrubbed. Whatever you do on the internet is there forever.
Exactly.
So yeah, that's where he learned of the poisonous beans that would kill in 3 days and leave no obvious sign of how the death occurred. The site also explained how to mix the beans with food and the way symptoms, which was convulsions and severe viral pain, which would gradually set in and cause a slow, painful death.
Wait, what is this? The beans itself is poisonous?
Yeah, it's poison beans. So he ordered the beans from a site in the U.S. from a company in Byron
Why aren't they available in the first place?
I have no idea. How can you just buy them online? If you know they're poisonous, maybe he like pretended that he was like a chemical company. I don't know how. Why is it available in the first place?
Exactly.
I'm hoping that it's not
I'm
anymore.
just thinking, like, it's not even that easy to get birth control pills here without seeing a doctor and whatnot, and then you can just buy poisonous beans online?
Yeah.
I'm sorry, what?
Insane. But yeah, that's what he did to like set up a smoke screen, and then he created like a false food contamination scare at a major company. Oh, he wrote a letter and said 3 of your products have been poisoned. By now they are on the supermarket shelves. This is what you get for treating employees like garbage. Good luck finding infected cans before someone dies. Go to hell. So that's what he also like devised another plan aside from killing his like parents. He like tried to blame it on a certain company as well. He sent the letters to Australian Quarantine Inspection Service and the Australian Federal Police, pretending to be an employee who had heard the products had been sabotaged. So yeah, and the letters were received on July 2, 2001. So that was 8 days before he decided to kill his family. So he did do it, but what happened was that his mom was only hospitalized. She didn't die. So he decided to like change his method, which was like, you would take it as a sign from the universe that this shit is not going to work out because your first plan didn't work anyway. Ugh.
If you have a problem with your family, just move out. I swear. It worked for me. I'm pretty sure it's gonna work for you guys too.
Yeah, don't kill people. Like, it's not gonna make it better, you know? It's gonna make it worse. So, on July 10, 2001, at about 4 p.m., Seth left the family's law firm where he went with his dad. He worked part-time there for his dad. Why am I saying this over and over again?
Are you okay?
Obviously, I'm not. And then he headed to his family home at around 4:30, armed with a baseball bat from his car and 2 kitchen knives from their kitchen. He entered Claudine's bedroom and assaulted her while she was studying. There, he compressed her neck while trying to strangle her, struck her head with the bat at least 6 times, and then stabbed her multiple times with the smaller knives. The cause of Claudine's death was a combination of the compression of her neck, blunt force head injuries, and abdominal stab wounds. Seth then waited for his mom, Loiva, who arrived home at around 5:30, and then after entering the house, Seth attacked her with one of their kitchen knives in the living room / dining room. In their living room / dining room. Loiva was inflicted with multiple stab wounds and cuts to her face, neck, chest, and abdomen, and then her windpipe was completely crushed. He has a thing for doing everything. It's like,
he's fucking mad. This is like a crime of passion, because if you just wanted to kill someone, you can just like stab them somewhere.
That's it. Yeah. Which was like one of the reasons why I'll explain that later on. So Sometime after, unknown to what just happened, Seth's maternal aunt visited the house at around 6 p.m. and she saw Seth's and Claudine's car in the driveway, but the house was dark and unusually quiet, which was like unusual to her because they had 6 small dogs inside that were known to be noisy. I don't know what he did with the dogs. I tried to look for what happened to the dogs. It didn't come out. Maybe he just put them somewhere.
Well,
because it would be reported if he killed them.
Yeah, that would be next level evil if he also hurt the dogs. Like, come on.
Yeah, like, what did they do to you?
Exactly.
Right?
So the dogs are probably, hopefully, fine.
Yeah. So yeah, or maybe he like released them or something. I don't know because nothing came out about the dogs. The aunt looked into the house. She noticed some movement, but she eventually decided to leave. She was planning on entering the house via the garage, but she decided to leave. Like, thank God, because if she did, she and her son probably would have been hurt. Like, they probably would have survived because there were 2 of them, but they might have been attacked too. And then soon after, at 6:50 p.m., Teddy, Seth's father, arrived home, and after entering the house, Seth attacked him right away with one of the kitchen knives, and he inflicted multiple stab wounds to his neck, chest, back, and abdomen. One of the stab wounds were like struck so deep that it penetrated his right lung, and then another penetrated his heart, and another partially severed Teddy's spinal cord. That's how hard he was like stabbing his dad. He also sustained defensive wounds, which I mentioned earlier, which suggested that there was a sign of a struggle. After he killed his family, Seth disposed of the murder weapons and his clothes and his size 7 running shoes, which he obviously was wearing at the time of the murder. That's why he disposed them.
Isn't size 7 tiny for a guy?
Yeah, he's Filipino, so I feel like that's a normal thing.
Really? I would think they'd be a 9.
Yeah.
I would think like 9 is an average, so he must have
Most of my family members are like, the men are like in size 9.
Right?
In men's.
That's why
right?
I'm thinking like, oh, he must have been a tiny dude.
That's why he's called Babyface Killer.
I thought it was just like referring to his face, but apparently his
I don't know, maybe
is
he
like
was
baby.
also small. Because I think they're like Chinese, Filipino Chinese.
Right.
Because based on, I'm just guessing, but based on how they look,
Oh, okay.
look.
No, because I'm thinking like Gonzalez is Spanish though.
Yeah. It's so weird because my father's side, we have Gonzalez's on like my father's side, so it's so weird to say it like a murderer shares like whatever. Anyway, and we're close to that side, so it's kind of weird.
But obviously you're not related, so it's fine.
Yeah, we're not from the same place. So yeah, after that he showered, changed his clothes, and then he painted the words "Fuck off Asia" and KKK on the wall of his house in an attempt to fool the investigating police into believing that his family have been victims of hate crime, which was like, obviously hate crime isn't good, and the fact that he thought of using hate crime to blame for the deaths of his family means that it's a very common thing, unfortunately. And like I said,
yeah,
it's been 10 years. Same shit has been happening. Although this hate crime isn't what happened on this case, it's still happening and it should stop. But yeah, Seth then drove to his friend's house. He arrived at his friend's house at about 8 p.m. They went to Sydney's CBD, where they ate at Planet Hollywood and visited a nearby video game arcade. And then later in the evening, he dropped his friend off and he returned home, where he acted like he found his family and was scared and all that shit. So what happened in the investigation, in the following days after the murders, Gonzalez appeared on television asking for the killers to come forward. He said that he wanted justice, and he was offering a reward of 100,000 Australian dollars. A few days after, he's like this delusional dude. A few days after the murder, Seth visited his family's accountant inquiring about the inheritance, which he was supposed to receive 1.5 million Australian US dollars.
Wait, Australian dollars.
Australian dollars, what did I say?
Because then I'm like, what the hell? There's an Australian US country now?
What is happening to me?
We good.
So, and because it was a hate crime, he was also eligible to receive a $15,000 Australian dollar payout. And because of that, he then moved to an apartment in Chatswood and put a deposit on a $173,000 Lexus, which he didn't need because he already had a car. He told the dealership that he would be using his inheritance to pay for the vehicle. Like, this dude isn't smart because the police would see your activity after.
Of course.
Everything. Like, that's what would...
And this is just days after, right?
Yeah, just a few days after the murder. It was also claimed at the trial that he traded his parents' car and pawned his mother's jewelry after the murder. He also told his relatives that he had a brain tumor and asked his godmother in the Philippines for $190,000 for the alleged surgery, but she didn't give him any money.
Is he okay?
He is not okay because on July 20, at the funeral for his family, they had the funeral for all three of them at the same time. He gave a eulogy, and to close the eulogy, he sang One Sweet Day by Boyz II Men. And that's what started, that's where people were like, what is happening? And I saw the video. I'm sorry to laugh at him. No, I'm not. But his singing is so funny because he was trying to act like he was... It's on YouTube, by the way. You guys can find it. He was trying to act like he was sad and shit. And he was closing his eyes. And it was funny. It was... You could see that he was acting. And that's what, like, the investigators were like, weird.
This is too staged.
Yeah. I get that you want to sing at, like, your family's funeral, but the way he was doing it looked like he was acting. Like, it looked like he was trying to get more sympathy. And he knew that this was televised. He knew that there were people who were watching this shit.
Fuck.
So, yeah, that's what made it like,
Oh my god, wait, stop. This is such a Filipino thing to want attention and be in front of the cameras. But, like, what the
This is too much.
happened?
This is a showtime, bro. But yeah, based on the initial evidence, New South Wales police investigators assumed that the murders were part of a robbery attempt because of the ransacking and shit like that. But there was absence of forced entry, and despite the ransacking, as I mentioned earlier, nothing was really missing. And another thing that they found out after the autopsy, there was like a 3-hour duration of the crimes because Claudine was killed at 4:30. Loiva was killed at around 5 something, and then the dad was killed at around 6:50.
Yeah.
So if this was like a robbery, they would all be killed at the same time right away. Yeah. It wouldn't be...
The killer waited.
Yeah, even if it is a hate crime, no hate crime murderer would wait to kill all three. If you have rage for a certain...
Yeah, you just kill them and go.
Race, yeah, you kill them and try to... Yeah, and you wouldn't overkill as much as what Seth did, that he used multiple...
Weapons
weapons and multiple methods as well. So he's not that smart. They also noticed the emotional detachment and the inconsistencies in Gonzalez's story because he claimed that he performed CPR, but there weren't like any evidence of him doing CPR. Because that's what he said during the dispatch, that he was like, I'm going to do CPR and shit like that. So,
is that even advisable? Like when someone gets stabbed, is it like right to do CPR? Because I would think if you start pressing on people, their blood will. I don't know how that works.
From what I know, their training is supposed to be like ask if there's still a pulse, and if there is, you put pressure on the wound. But if it looks like the person is already dead, then you leave them alone. Like you're not supposed to touch them. If you were there, like if you witnessed them getting shot, then that's when you're supposed to do CPR. But if like you don't know how long they've been like that,
like just don't.
The advice from what I know is like just wait for the
paramedics,
police. For the paramedics. That's what they usually do. Like help is coming and shit like that. So another thing that they, aside from like the emotional attachment and like the thing that they found out that he pawned the stuff, his clothes had the same paint that was used in the graffiti scrawl, and they found the shoebox in his room that matched the shoes used during the attack because they saw the footprints and shit, so they found the shoebox.
Your size 7 didn't save you.
He thought he was being clever by, like, disposing the stuff, but he wasn't clever enough. Should we be saying this in case you have murderers listening to this? Don't murder! So based on his internet records, which was searched eventually, and they used that to, like, as evidence to, or, like, as reason to tap onto his like phone calls. They recorded his calls, and he was also befriended and surveilled by an undercover policeman. So this dude had zero idea. He was like, let's be friendly, yo. Not knowing that it was police. So in December 2001, police were able to disprove Gonzalez's first alibi, that he waited in his car in the driveway before driving to another suburb and later meeting his friend on the night of the murders. Gonzalez also constructed another second alibi, claiming that he had taken a taxi as his car may have been recognized and visited a brothel at the time of the murders. It was discredited by both the supposed taxi driver and the sex worker. And then other false trails included the fabrication of an email that implicated a business rival of Teddy in the murders. Teddy, the father Gonzalez, the dad Gonzalez.
It sounds like the mama bear, like Goldilocks, the father bear.
The dad, to like, he like kind of framed them that the rival was staging an attempted burglary on May 30. And then a breakthrough came when they found a fingerprint that matched Seth's in a series of like product poisoning letters, which matched address searches on his PC. Because he was searching for the addresses of those places where he sent the letters to. And then other evidence indicated his search into poisons and ordering toxic plant seeds and recent unexplained poisoning like illnesses in the family.
This is what I'm scared of about my search histories, because we're so into this that I will actually search those things. And if like police come and check, they'd be like, what the fuck is this bitch up to, when we're literally just trying to figure things out.
We have a podcast.
Yeah. But still.
That's our alibi. But they also found out that he has narcissistic behavior. He created a website dedicated to his innocence with like pictures of him and shit like that. And he claimed that it was created by Daisy, a family friend, but they couldn't find who Daisy was. Like, she didn't exist. So that's how insane he is.
What happened to his brain tumor?
That's just he forgot about his brain tumor suddenly
because he didn't get the money from his aunt, so he's like, you know what? My brain tumor's gone.
Yeah. He's so fucking selfish. He knew that he was gonna get the inheritance, which was like $1 million something, and then he's asking for more money from someone from the Philippines. Like, what the fuck?
Exactly.
Too much, dude. Yeah, so he was charged with 3 counts of murder and 1 count of threatening product contamination because he did the poison shit. He was refused bail and held on remand in Silverwater Correctional Center. During his time, he was denied access to the family's estate to fund his defense and sought legal aid for the murder trial, which took place during April and May 2004.
This is why we can't have nice things.
Yeah. Eventually, the whole story kind of like the investigators kind of found the whole story of him failing, like the whole issue with him and his parents, and so that they kind of use that as evidence against him. And on May 2004, he was found guilty on all 4 charges, including the charge of like threatening product contamination.
Right.
He was sentenced on September 17, 2004, with 3 concurrent life sentences without parole for the murders. The judge, Justice Bruce James, remarked that I consider that the murders show features of very great heinousness and that there are no facts mitigating the objective seriousness of the murders, and hence the murders fall within the worst category of cases of murder at common law. As of 2020, Seth still continues to serve his sentence at Goulburn Correctional Center. So if you're from Australia, send him a shout out.
Send him the letters.
Yeah, send him hate mail. No, I'm just kidding. Or not. But yeah, he still maintains that he is innocent to this day. I was searching about like what was like evidence, like what was his evidence that he was innocent, and there was like a couple of websites that popped out that had like 4 days ago that new evidence about Seth Gonzalez's like innocence, and whenever I click, all 4 websites were asking me to pay, and they weren't even like legit websites, and I was like, no, bitch. You're asking me to pay? We're still in a pandemic? He
probably made that.
Yeah. How, though? Maybe they still have access to internet?
I have no idea. He probably made it before he got
But 4 days
bail.
ago, the latest article was like 4 days ago. But I doubt, because his alibi, none of his alibis are like legit, That 4 to 7, that's a huge gap of no one backing you up. Like, even if he claimed that he was in a brothel, no one was like, yeah, I saw him. Like, no one knew him.
The sex worker was like, nah.
Yeah, and he forgot that his face, he's not from Australia, so his face would stand out.
Yes.
Because he's not white.
And he's a chronic liar, so it's very difficult to trust him.
So yeah, that was the murders of the Gonzalez family, or the Babyface killer.
Oh my god. Sometimes I wish, no, I'm not gonna blame anyone for this. But if you're what was the term for it? Tiger parent?
Yeah.
Y'all better pray your kids are chicken as fuck, or else.
Yeah. Usually they turn out to be chicken. Like us. Or me specifically.
That's so bad.
But
Oh my
yeah,
God.
a case like this also happened in Canada. I feel like you would know this case, the murder by Jennifer Pan, the Pan family.
Sorry, no, it doesn't
I
ring
feel
a
like
bell.
if we cover that, you would know what it is because it's
Probably.
like a pretty famous thing.
Are they still Filipino or just like different kind of Asian?
No, different kind of Asian. We all collectively share this
Oh yes.
thing. The struggle. See, like, you don't need to kill your parents because you're not the only one facing. If you're going through like shit with your parents, like,
Start a podcast.
don't kill them. Yeah, start a podcast. You're gonna end up like us.
Or follow our podcast on Spotify, iTunes, or wherever you listen to your
Yes.
podcasts too.
And don't forget to review because it's going to help us. But seriously, who's listening to this, if you think you're a tiger parent, or if you feel like you're too strict, you probably might not be listening to this. But think about like the consequences of what, like, I know mental health isn't the priority for Asian families, but you're risking your relationship with your children just for you to get the perfect child. That's not worth it.
Yes, we are still dealing with the trauma from it. So,
Yes.
like, no one deserves that.
Yes. So yeah. Follow us on socials.
That's at
At
Creepy
Creepy-
Convos. Oh, no,
Yeah.
go ahead.
Is it on Twitter? Creepy Convos on Twitter
Yes.
and Facebook, and then Creepy Conversations on Instagram. We're more active on Instagram. If you
Yeah.
have stories that you want to submit, please submit it at creepyconvos@gmail.com or on our website. We prioritize the stories submitted on our website. And yeah, that's it.
Thanks for creeping, you fucking creeper.
And remember, the government is always watching you. Literally, look at what happened to Seth.
Exactly.
Goodbye.